Hey there! So you live in Quincy, Washington, and you've got a dog. You already know that life out here is a little different, right? Well, this explainer is going to be your go-to guide for finding the absolute best trainer, someone who really gets our community, so you and your dog can have an amazing life together.
We're going to cover all the bases. We'll start with what makes training here in Quincy unique. Then we'll get into the different training methods and what those fancy credentials actually mean. We'll also break down the costs, give you the must-ask questions for any potential trainer, and wrap up with some local rules and really cool spots to check out with your pup.
All right, first things first, let's talk about why training a dog in an agricultural area like Quincy isn't quite the same as training one in a big city. It comes with its own set of challenges, but also some really great opportunities. It really comes down to safety and just practicality. Whether you're on a few acres of your own, hiking a trail, or just walking through town, you need a dog that you can trust. A dog that's going to come back when you call them and won't lose its mind around farm equipment, wildlife, or other animals. That reliable training, that's what lets you relax and actually enjoy all this amazing space we have. Okay, so we've established why training is so important here. Now let's figure out what to look for. How can you tell if a trainer is actually qualified and is going to be effective for you and your dog? Let's give you the tools to sort through your options with confidence. So you're going to hear this term a lot, positive reinforcement. And there's a really good reason for that. This approach is backed by science, and it's not just about being nice to your dog. It's about effectively teaching them to make good choices by rewarding the behavior you want to see. This builds their confidence and teaches them impulse control, which is exactly what you need when a deer suddenly runs across your path. Now, let's talk about certifications. Believe it or not, the dog training industry isn't regulated, so anyone can call themselves a trainer. That's why these credentials matter so much. When you see something like CPDD-CAK or KPA-CTP, it tells you that this person has invested their own time and money to meet a professional standard. It's a huge green flag that they're serious about their education and their craft. Next up, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are the different ways you can get your dog trained, and what should you expect to budget for it here in the Quincy area? For the most part, you've got two main options: group classes or private lessons. Group classes are awesome for socialization and learning to focus with other dogs around. But for our Quincy lifestyle, private in-home training can be a perfect fit. Think about it. A trainer can come right to your property and help you with those real-world challenges, like teaching your dog to respect your property line or how to act calmly around your neighbor's animals. So what's this all cost? This chart gives you a pretty good idea of the typical price ranges here in Grant County. Of course, this can change depending on the trainer's experience and what's included. And here's a little pro tip for our area. Always ask if they charge a travel fee, because a lot of trainers might be coming from Wenatchee or Moses Lake. All right, this part right here is your game plan. When you're ready to start calling trainers, you need to know exactly what to ask to make sure you're finding the right person for the job. Finding a great trainer is kind of like a job interview, and you're the one doing the hiring. So let's get you prepared with the 5 most important questions you should be asking. Just use this as your checklist. You want to know right away what methods they use. You want to know if they have actual experience with rural dogs. Ask them how they'll create a plan specifically for your goals. And of course, get all the costs up front to avoid surprises. Finally, ask them how you'll know you're making progress. It just sets everyone up for success. Okay, so a well-trained dog is one half of the picture. The other half is being a responsible dog owner in our community. So let's quickly run through some key local rules and then get to the fun stuff, some great local spots to enjoy with your dog. These are pretty much the basics of being a good neighbor here in Quincy. Keep your dog on a leash in public places, make sure their vaccinations and license are up to date, and be mindful of barking. These simple things really do help keep our community safe and peaceful for everybody. And after you've put in all that hard work, it's time to have some fun. You can practice those nice leash manners over at Quincy Community Park. If you need a safe, fenced-in spot to really nail that recall, Burke Park in Moses Lake is perfect. Or for a real-world test of focus, take a leashed hike on the beautiful Ancient Lakes Trail. Look, at the end of the day, investing in good training is about so much more than just having a dog that sits and stays. It's about building a bond of trust that lets you feel confident and secure, whether you're at home, out on a trail, or just walking through town. A well-trained dog truly makes life here in Quincy better for everyone. We wish you the best of luck on your training journey.